That's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity Lounge, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's up, Chuck?
Hey, it's good to be back in this place.
Yeah, we're kicking it a little old school today. I actually had to go back and look at the year we drafted Cutter Gauthier to see if it was like we worked here and we were actually like doing shows in the studio, but no, that was well before we worked here. Time just doesn't really exist to me anymore. Anyway, we have a big game tonight, the game of the year. It is cool that like there's a possibility there's much bigger games on the schedule coming up, you know, to like make the playoffs and stuff. Because a year ago, they played January 11th last year, almost a year ago. This was it. This was the whole point of the season. It was, is Matvei Michkov going to be a Calder finalist, and what happens in the Cutter game? Well, the Cutter game last year was amazing, and Matvei wasn't a Calder finalist.
I guess Game 82 ended up being important.
Game 82 was important. That was when you're rooting for a loss, it's hard to call that a big game, but it was in fact a big game. It landed us World Junior Championship leading goal scorer Porter Martone, who apparently isn't any good. I don't know. Led the tournament in goals, but we're mad.
I think he's quite good.
Yeah, I think so too. We talked about that on yesterday's show, Chuck. Anyway, we have some stuff to get to today, so we will start with the Flyers lineup. We heard from Rick Tocchet at Morning Skate today. It'll be Dan Vladar in net, of course. Dan Vladar, 15-6-3, with a sub-240 goals against and that .910 save percentage holding strong. The defense will be, as we have come to expect, York Sanheim, Andre Drysdale, big night for Jamie, and Sealer Risto. We do have potential game time decision in one Matvei Michkov. He missed practice on Monday. A little swelling, dealing with that after taking that, you described it as friendly fire.
Yeah.
A pass with a little bit of mustard on it from Trevor Zegras. Takes it off the foot. Played the whole game, was fine, but then shows up to practice Monday, goes, something's wrong.
Probably took the boot off.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you take the skate off, foot doubles in size, can't get it back on.
Yep.
But he's out there today. They did x-rays, negative, but he's a game time decision.
Yeah, and honestly, not sure if he's going to play. We'll probably be finding out shortly whether he's going to play or not. But he skated in the optional today. There were a lot of players in the optional. A couple guys took the option, like Travis Konechny.
Because usually it's just like the scratches and the goalies.
It was a bigger group. So he was out there for the optional. But interestingly enough, he stayed out there a long time. The last three guys to come in, I believe, were last three skaters were Nick Delorier, definitely a scratch. Noah Juleson, definitely a scratch. Matvei Michkov, we're hoping he plays. But usually the later a guy stays out, the less of a chance he has of playing. Now, maybe he was just pushing it. It's possible that that's all it was. He was pushing it and seeing that his foot was going to be okay and he'll be good to go. But that did raise my eyebrows a little bit that, like, maybe they'll keep him out for a game. Luckily, he avoided a major injury. But if the swelling's still not great, then maybe they'll keep him out for precautionary reasons. And look, it would be a bummer because he's yet to miss an NHL game that he was allowed to play in.
He has never in his career missed a game for health.
Yeah.
Now, he was healthy scratched a couple of times last year, but he has never missed a game for health. And that is one of the more impressive things of his first, year and a half as an NHL player to me. Because we've talked about like the conditioning this year, but last year, like we just kind of saw him wear down in the middle and like the grind of the NHL. It's difficult. It's a much more physical game than the KHL.
Sure.
It's hard. It's hard for guys from North America, let alone all the stuff that comes along with being like here for the first time, not speaking the language. We laid out all the things, but he has been able to press through. It's not like he hasn't been hurt. He played in the NHL for 82 plus games. It's just he hasn't been injured. He's been able to play through it. And if he's not able to suit up tonight for what is one of the more anticipated games on the schedule, that will be a bummer, because even in the midst of that slump he was in last season, he shows up big in that Ducks game, and that kind of gave us all. I mean, there were so many great moments.
Oh, yeah.
But it kind of just gave us all that warm feeling of like, at least we have, of the two, the guy, and it's a little different this year. We'll talk about Cutter in a little bit, but I'm very much looking forward to this one. I really hope Matvei can suit up, because he's built for these moments. It just feels like he steps up. Going back to last year when it was up against premier guys, he stepped up. In this Ducks game, he stepped up. He's, every time he plays McDavid, he puts up points, things like that. We all remember the wink he gave Ovechkin when he scored against them last year. It just seems like he's a spotlight kind of guy, but it is not as if it's not a big game for some other guys.
That was my point. I'd be excited to see Matvei Michkov play, because it's fun to see Matvei Michkov play, especially when he's playing close to or at his best. But the guy who I'm really excited to see play tonight is Trevor Zegras, because Zegras actually does have a reason to be motivated to play against the Anaheim Ducks. Obviously, they were the team that at one time he was their centerpiece. He was their future star, and then kind of got not completely kicked to the curb, but definitely pushed to the side to make way for guys like Leo Carlson and Mason McTavish. And suddenly, Zegras was just another guy. They ultimately trade him for Ryan Poehling and a second-round pick. Not exactly a huge return, speaking to their view of him as a player. And since he showed up in Philly, Zegras has been fantastic, scoring at a near point per game pace. I'm curious to see how he approaches this. I asked Rick Tocchet at the morning skate today, what do you say to him? Do you say, use that to fuel you? Do you tell him treat it like any other game? And he basically said, look, I'm just going to let him do what he does. I've been there. I've gotten traded to new teams. And yeah, you want to show them that they were wrong, but I'm just going to kind of let him do what he does. And Zegras, interestingly enough, when we interviewed him after the morning skate, he didn't skate in the optional, but we still were able to interview him. And we asked him, where are your feelings at going into this game? I thought it was noteworthy that he said, well, I have nothing against any of the guys on that team. I love those guys. They were great. They're friends of mine. Didn't say he had nothing against management. So I would guess that he does have a little bit of an axe to grind, and he's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder tonight to show Pat Verbeek and the rest of the front office that, maybe you should have stuck with me.
And I just go back to, again, that game last season, and it was the atmosphere was insane. The Jamie's better chants were incredible. But I just remember going into that game, and I just looked it up. Jamie Drysdale, heading into that January 11th matchup last year, had played 30 games, 1 goal, 6 assists on the season, and then goes out, puts up a goal and an assist. It was clearly a big night for him. The team was feeding off of it. He fed off of it and put up one of his more, at least, impressive stat games of that season. And I feel like he kind of became a Flyer that night, it was a great demonstration of what this fan base is when we have your back.
Yeah.
The reaction to the Dvorak contract, that is the ugly side. And it's not like you and I sat here and praised it. We gave our fair evaluation. Mm-hmm. You can all check that out on the mini pod, on the emergency pod we did yesterday. But you get that other side, where it is the us against them. Jamie is ours, so we can complain about what he's becoming. I don't want him on the power play anymore or anything. But that night, we got you, Jamie. Don't worry. And Trevor Zegras has already really ingratiated himself to this fan base, so I am looking forward to seeing what the Flyers fans have cooked up tonight in terms of supporting Trevor Zegras and, of course, booing Cutter Gauthier.
I will say one little tidbit I want to share, because I don't know for a fact that this is what it was, but the circumstantial evidence would imply. So for those who don't understand what this is, there's the concept in hockey, in the NHL specifically, but really in hockey all around, concept of money on the board.
Yeah.
And Bill, you can go into kind of what money on the board is essentially a little bit of a financial incentive.
It's not gambling.
It's not quite gambling. But we go in the Flyers locker room today to interview players after morning skate. And on the board, you have the projected Anaheim lineup. You have their lines. You have their pairs. And then you have Number 46, number 22, and then nothing next to those things. I kind of wonder if there were monetary values there that were erased before the media came in.
Haven't been put up yet. Maybe it's a pregame.
Maybe it's a pregame.
Maybe it's, media's come in, and let's not let them get a picture of that, which is really good work by the PR team, if that's the case.
Yep.
So basically the former players, when you're up against your old team, you want to beat them. You give your teammates some incentive to come through for you. Right. That's basically what it is. It's not gambling. No, it's not like I'm going to have some anytime goals here. It's not like, hey man, $50 for a goal, but it kind of is. It does sound like the two former Ducks.
Well, Dvorak not a former Duck, but probably because he just signed the contract.
Yes. Well, once you get your signing bonus, I was thinking Drysdale.
He's going to be hey, I'll kick you some of that signing bonus.
Yeah, you've all helped me. Obviously, Zegras has helped him, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Right.
He helped him get this contract, both with his production on the ice and actually signing the effing thing. So he's going to kick in a little as well. But Zegras is going to have some. Gonna have some money on the board tonight, I would guess. I am real interested to see Zegras' mentality going into this one, because he has been overly, I'm not overly professional, but way more of just like a hockey player than, the guy playing for clicks than I expected. I wonder if he's gonna be overly amped tonight, if he's gonna try to play if tonight's the night we get the Michigan attempt.
Is he going to break out the Michigan tonight?
Is tonight that night, or is tonight the night he's I am going to show them I am nothing like what they thought I was? I wonder which way it goes. I want to see both, quite honestly. Okay. I want to see him throw a big hit and also
do a Michigan.
Nice little Michigan attempt. I'm looking forward to that. But just getting a sense of the locker room this morning, Charlie, and you said looks like there's going to be some money on the board, but we all remember, and the atmosphere obviously contributed to this. It's not like these guys knew Cutter for years and he was F you, I'm out of here. Showed up to a couple camps and that was it. But we have, Travis Konechny with the camera on him, in Cutter's face, going, I effing promise I'll fight you. Let's go. Travis he's an agitator, but Cutter's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, Cutter's got 5 inches
He's just looking up at him I'll fight you.
Yeah, I don't care.
It clearly meant something to the players. And again, that was it meant something to us, so it meant something to them, and I really appreciated that from them this year.
Yeah.
Other than, obviously, Jamie Drysdale said, well, I had my time last year. This is Trevor's opportunity. But the other guys who aren't intimately familiar with the Ducks, do you think it means as much to them this time as it did last time? Do you think Travis Konechny's going to try to fight Cutter Gauthier again?
No, I don't. But I also think a lot of that, too, was driven by the crowd reaction.
Yes.
And you got to remember, this is a team, especially the vets, but even the younger guys that, haven't seen what then the Wells Fargo Center, now the Xfinity Mobile Arena, what that building can be when people are legitimately excited about the Flyers. And that night gave them a little preview of this is what it could be if we get good. And I think they fed off of that energy. Is the energy in the building tonight going to be the same as it was last year? Probably not as much, but it might still be real good. And if it is, I think the players will feed off it the way they did last year.
That's even the guys on this team who have played in the playoffs for the Flyers. They haven't played in front of a crowd in the playoffs since 2018.
Yeah.
That was the loudest I have heard the building in forever. Hopefully that continues again tonight, because we're going for the sweet takeover, and I want to be involved in yet another near riot game, and hopefully another 6-0 win. That would be pretty cool too. Cool. All right, on the other side, we're going to put a bow on our conversation from last night about the Dvorak contract extension. We're going to talk about Cutter as well and pregame picks, but now it's time for our break. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Bet365 has over 90 million worldwide users. They live stream almost 800,000 events each year. And today, Bet365 offers the widest range of games and markets available for live in-game betting across 78 different sports. And with the Bet365 NHL early payout offer, you're a winner. If your team gains a 3-goal lead, you get an instant payout on straight bets, and your parlay selections are marked as winners. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY PHLY365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 whole years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. It's like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And it's Wi-Fi that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony, and working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And the best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is always included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. Big contracts look even worse in retrospect, but your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Let's go Flyers. All right, it's time to talk a little about the news we covered in great length on our emergency pod last night, the Christian Dvorak contract extension. $5.15 million for 5 years. He will be here, at least contractually. He's set to be here until he is 35 years old. Charlie turns 30 in under a month. It'll be February 2nd. We did like 40 minutes on this last night. Check out the emergency pod. I want to know if you have anything to add to this conversation, but I do want to get to the Zegras part of this as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'll add, and this is something that is actually very funny, we talked about this before the show, that probably 35 minutes of the 40 minutes of our emergency pod breakdown of the signing was like, yeah, we don't think this is the greatest idea. And then there was one part where I was like, the guys are going to love this in the room. You know, they're going to love the fact that the team isn't selling again. It's not going to be a Sean Walker situation. And hopefully that provides them a boost as they try to make the playoffs. And of course, the people on social media latched onto that as like, oh, Charlie's a shill. He thinks this is a great move. It's like, well, you clearly didn't watch the video at all. You so just watched the clip. But it's just the equivalent of like the whole, do not read the headline, start your comment, don't read the article. Like,
I'm so glad we clipped that part so that people could get those comments out. Yeah. I honestly, I'm glad that was one of the 2 social clips. And the first one wasn't positive, but whatever.
But that's just like, that's accepted as like, well, obviously that's the reaction, so you can't even say anything remotely positive about it. But using that as a jumping off point, today we talked to the players, and guess what? They're freaking ecstatic.
They're very happy, and that is the thing we did point out. Like, if there's a positive, especially for now through the end of the season.
Yes.
Last time they were in this sort of position was the 22, 23 year?
23, 24.
23, 24, yeah, where it comes down to game 82, but really they had started to fold before that. They were propped up by a lot of good goaltending and the Tortorella system, and then when the goaltending went away and everyone got hurt, it went downhill real fast. And Danny Briere was faced with a decision and made the right decision, but it was deflating. He trades Sean Walker, and that disappointed the locker room. Yes, it was the right call. Yeah. And Danny went, sorry, boys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is the way it has to be.
What you got to do.
If he had done that again, there is a feeling you might not get them back the way you did last time. Or at least it would have an adverse effect on this culture they're trying to build. I know no one wants to hear that word. I know it makes everyone mad.
Or just, like, I don't think they make the playoffs.
It tanks the season. Like, he's their number 1 center right now.
Like I know there are a lot of people who are like, well, I don't care about the playoffs so they don't win a cup. Like, I don't know. Getting to the playoffs would be a lot of fun. I would enjoy that personally, if covering playoff hockey again. And I think even deep in your heart of hearts, you would like to watch the Flyers in the playoffs too. As pessimistic as you might be, you would enjoy it too. Don't lie to yourself.
Playoff hockey is objectively fun.
Yes, it is.
But there were other parts of this I wanted to get to. I think our opinion on the whole thing, watch the emergency pod. One, we got this piece of info today from the availabilities. Trevor Zegras, you tweeted this out. Trevor Zegras said that Christian Dvorak came over to his house to officially sign the contract at 11 p.m. last night, said that he needed a witness to sign this deal, and Zegras qualified.
Yep.
In terms of the, and it can be a joke online sometimes, but like the power of friendship that they're building with, Devo's pals with Zegras through some of like Zegras' friends who've played with him in the past. And obviously there's the Drysdale and York connections from being teammates at different stops along the way. All USA guy. Well, Jamie's Canadian, but they played together in Anaheim.
Right.
That is something they are building. That is clear that is important to them. And I just found this quite honestly adorable.
Yeah, it was very funny. It was very endearing. We were very happy we could talk to Trevor Zegras before this game because kind of knew he probably had a couple good quotes, to give, and he did not disappoint. This is a very funny little anecdote. It shows how close they are. Like, they're tight, and they were tight before this. They were friends, dating back to Dvorak's time in Montreal because he was roommates with Cole Caulfield, and Caulfield's really good buddies with Zegras, and that's how they became friends because every time Zegras would hang out with Caulfield in Montreal, Dvorak would tag along, and then they became buds. So you already had that. Now it seems like everybody in that room loves Dvorak, which is very funny. Like, I'm not saying Dvorak doesn't seem like a good dude. He does, but he's like a very low-key guy when he talks to us. He just seems like kind of a, background personality, but you talk to his teammates and they just think he's the best guy in the world. So he must be totally different behind closed doors than he's with us.
I just think it's funny. Like, as you age, like age gaps, like tend to shrink. Mm-hmm. But like the difference in my mind between a 24 and 29-year-old is steep.
Yeah.
And I like when the little bit of the older guy is like, nah, man, I'm hanging out with Cole Caulfield and Trevor Zegras. I'm young at heart. Yeah. I didn't get into hockey to be a boring old man.
Sounds fun to me.
Sounds like a lot of fun. But there's also this thing that you commented on, but it was a Kevin Kerr's tweet about some of Zegras' comments when talking about Devo re-signing. And I think this is interesting, too. Kerr's tweeted, Zegras was sure speaking this morning like someone who expects to be here a long time too. He said, it's cool to see somebody's age around 29 decide that this is the place he wants to be and this is the place he feels like we can win. It's definitely a nice feeling for sure. Asked, do you feel the same way? Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we weren't going to let him leave as a group of guys either. We were kind of on him all year about sticking around and staying. We were all pretty happy today.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly seems like it is a foregone conclusion. It's a matter of when, not if, that the Flyers are going to lock up Trevor Zegras and he's going to be part of this long term. That was actually like...
You don't think it's going to be 8 years, though, right?
I mean, it might be.
Okay.
But I just don't think it's a guarantee.
Okay.
I don't think they are like definitely giving him 8 years. They might give him 7. They might give him 6. Maybe they'll give him 5. I don't think it's like have to give him 8. I think that this was one of the more... It didn't make me angry. I guess I just was confused because it seemed like one of the talking points on social media about like when the Dvorak rumors first started coming up. And Elliot Friedman specifically spoke to one of them, and he was like, I got a lot of people in my DMs, a lot of Flyers fans being like, why are we signing Dvorak before Zegras? And my response to that was like, well, because Dvorak's a pending UFA and Zegras is a pending RFA, you don't have to rush to sign the pending RFA. Maybe you should because you might get him for cheaper, but you don't have to. And this should have at least like disabused anyone of the notion that like, they're not going to re-sign Zegras. Like, I mean, no, they're going to re-sign Zegras. It seems like Zegras is like itching to put his name on the line, the dotted line.
Yeah, and that's the other part, and that is something like that's just kind of obvious to me. Like you said, they probably wouldn't trade him. Maybe if they really are going to make a push, they'd let him walk for nothing, and so be it. It's not like you had to give anything up to get him. Yeah. He signed as a free agent, wasn't a trade.
It was a 1-year deal.
So it's not the end of the world if he leaves for nothing.
But you at least would have to listen.
But you'd have to at least take the phone calls.
Exactly.
Because it's not great asset management to let a dude walk for nothing, especially in the situation they're in where, they want to improve, but they're nowhere near cup contender yet. You have to listen.
It would have very much become a, like, we're going to set a very high price.
Whereas with Zegras, it's like, I guess someone might offer sheet him, but also all the hockey men hate him. And he'd have to sign an offer sheet even if they did.
You just hear what he just said.
He wants to be here. He's
not signing an offer sheet unless the Flyers like offer him $5 million a year.
Yeah. All right. Let's get the other part of it. I thought you were going to talk about was, hey, you know how no one wants to be here? It's like, well, he does, and all these guys want him. Like, I don't know. There is something. Again, I don't like this contract. I don't think this is a good idea. But there is something too. We all think no one wants to be here, and a lot of guys want to be here.
Yeah, well, it's just the people that want to be here.
Yeah, not the ones we want.
The people who want to be here are the people that
Nathan
the people
McKinnon
don't want
doesn't want to be here, though, so what the hell does it matter?
Connor McDavid.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little about, speaking of people who don't want to be here, Cutter Gauthier and the Ducks. Charlie, first of all, because we expect the building to be full and raucous tonight. Now, it does just happen to be Ed Snyder's 93rd birthday.
Yeah,
it is the Ed Snyder Legacy game tonight. Schedule makers, they knew. They did this on purpose.
You think?
I think this was a request.
You think?
You can request certain things, and based on how, like, it's like, hey, man, we're on the West Coast for Christmas every year. Maybe, like, hook us up. The first game back against the dude that everyone's going to show up to boo is on Ed Snyder's birthday. I think that's fun.
And they had a really good crowd for the first game, the last game before the break. That was their best crowd of the season by far, the last game before the Christmas break, and they're certainly going to get a good crowd tonight. Maybe that's some attendance momentum heading into the second half.
I want to talk a little about Cutter and the Ducks, though. So last season, Anaheim visited Philly. It was January 11th. It was the Ducks' 42nd game. Cutter had 5 goals and 13 assists at the time. It was like, ooh, this guy ain't ready yet, you know? Comes in, gets embarrassed, national television, all that stuff. The very next night, they play in Carolina. Cutter has 2 goals, including the overtime winner in Carolina. They've played 82 games since that last time. He has put up, Cutter has, I just had the note, 34 goals, 31 assists. He's got 61 points in the 65 points in the 82 games since that visit to Philly. It's almost as if he had to get that game out of the way to begin his career. Like, he had to come in here, get his ass kicked, and then it was like, it's behind me. And he's been awesome since then. And he's had a really good start to this year. He's got 19 goals and 20 assists, I think, on the season.
Yes.
Yeah, 19 goals, 20 assists in 42 games. He's off to a really good start. But the Ducks have lost 8 of 9, and over that span, Cutter has 3 points in those 9 games, and 2 came in one game. They've lost 8 of 9. They've only won 2 of their last 12. They've lost 6 straight. The Ducks, who started out on fire, it ain't going well right now.
Yeah, they have certainly struggled over the last month or so. We know why. The reason is because they're allergic to defense.
They don't play defense.
They've been allergic to defense since the start of the year. It was just in the beginning of the year they were outscoring the defense, and Lucas Dostal was playing really, really well. That's kind of come apart recently, and now they're not scoring as crazy of rates as they were before. Cutter Gauthier being one of the guys who isn't on a crazy hot streak anymore, and suddenly they're losing. This doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be an easy game for the Flyers, especially given the emotions involved on both sides. But what it does mean is that the Flyers are getting the Ducks at a good time. And they're getting Gauthier at a good time.
And that's, I'll tell you, the Ducks did nothing. Like, we talk about, we made the point about, like, protecting your goalie in that Vancouver game. Like, show up for your guy a little bit at the end of that game. Let him end the game with only 2 goals against instead of 3. You still won, but you didn't really show up for your guy at the end. The Ducks did nothing to help Cutter last year.
That is true.
They got their asses thoroughly kicked. If he's at all popular in that locker room, they got to want to make that up to him, I would think.
That's a fair point.
So this is going to be an emotional and hopefully fun game, and I want to see the Flyers come out on top. And that leads us to tonight's pregame picks, our Bet365 pregame picks. Sign up for Bet365 and use code PHLY365 to deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 and get $200 in bonus bets whether your bet wins or loses. Must be 21 plus and NPA. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 2 bets tonight, Chuck. Trevor Zegras, anytime goal, plus 170. Like I said earlier, very interested to see his demeanor. He had the second shortest odds, I think, in this game to score a goal. Bettors are already on this. They want to, and like, he's one of their leading scorers, so it makes sense. But plus 170 for the Cutter anytime goal in his revenge game. And I'm going to go Cutter. Anytime goal at plus 210. He's cold coming in, like I said, but goal scorers are streaky. Maybe this is the game he needs to get him going. This is really just the emotional hedge. It seems like former Flyers always score against us. We always play that angle.
He's not really
technically a former Flyer, but he is the main character tonight.
Yeah, he is.
Maybe he and Zegras are co-stars, but like, the crowd is showing up to boo the man more than support their team.
I would agree with that.
I would say that this is very much the Roddy Piper. We didn't sell out Madison Square Garden with Hulk Hogan. We sold out Madison Square Garden because they wanted to see Hulk Hogan beat me up. Like, that's basically what we are. That's basically where we are tonight. It's going to be that sort of game. And so I'm taking both main eventers to score. Zegras plus 170, Gauthier plus 210. And that's it. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame, brought to you by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube. We'll be live with postgame as soon as this thing goes final. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers, and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Charlie O'Connor. Thanks as always to Brenna. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.